Hey, you guys, gals, and bums. We're back. We had a little monkey wrench thrown into the works. I took a little pinch. Well, not so little. The channel was facing the death penalty, but I got a last-minute call from the governor, and now I'm back on the streets. Thank you guys for sticking around and showing all the love and support. So I'm going to ramble on a little bit now, so if you want to skip to the story, go ahead. But right now I'm talking to the family here. This pinch came at the worst time. We didn't even get a chance to celebrate the fact that a few bad men reached 10,000 subscribers. That's unbelievable. Thank you guys so much. When I first started this channel, I just jumped off the ledge hoping I could fly. And look at us now, all grown up and doing the town. Having that near-death experience really made me focus on the ultimate goal of how I want this channel to be. Over the next few months, I'll be showing you guys. You 11,400 subscribers we have right now are on the ground floor of something big. Now that we got that case behind us, no one's going to stop us now from taking over this YouTube racket. If you guys watch every video I post, I guarantee you, by the end of this year, we'll be the biggest gangster channel on YouTube. There can only be one boss, and I hate taking orders. So it's back to business. I'll be posting the old stories again. I have to redo them, so give me a second. I'll have those as well as some new ones I got lined up, so stay tuned. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's get back to Mick. When Benny started his takeover, most of the underworld figures fell in line and became partners. But there were a few holdouts. One of them was Eddie Nialis, a flashy young half-Mexican gambler. Eddie was into everything, and he was pulling $10,000 a year with his partner Curly Robinson. They had a dangerous old-timer named Irish Jimmy Fox and some not-so-straight officers from the LA Sheriff's Department as muscle. Benny met with Nialis and he told him the new order of things, but Nialis wasn't having any of it. He couldn't figure giving someone else a cut, and he refused Benny's offer. So Benny sicked Mickey and his crew on him. They destroyed 5 of Nialis' joints. Then Benny gave Mickey $5,000 to get rid of Irish Jimmy Fox. Mickey shot Fox in the home of a bookie.
He pulled a gun. I hit him first.
He survived, but he was never a threat again. Next, Mickey set to take out Nialis' sheriff protection. One cop who worked for Nialis had killed at least 11 men on his behalf. Mickey confronted him.
To me, you're no cop. Being you're no cop, I got a right to kill you. So come prepared. The next time I see you, I'm going to hit you between the eyes.
This didn't sit well with his cop buddies. Mickey began to get harassed by cops on Nialis' payroll. He was even told by one powerful captain.
He told me if he ever saw me on the Sunset Strip, he would personally shoot me in the head.
Mickey started to deal with Nialis' partner, Curly Robinson. But after an altercation with Nialis, Mickey had enough. He decided that Nialis had to go. Somehow Mickey got his hands on a key to Nialis' apartment. He sat in the living room waiting for Nialis. When Nialis arrived home, he put his key in the lock and then paused before yanking it back out and taking off.
I laid the perfect trap for him, but either fate was with him or a sixth sense.
Nialis took off all the way back to Mexico. With Mickey's help, Ben had LA sewn up. He was the king of the Sunset Strip, and he held court in the legendary Brown Derby. Mickey was doing the dirty work for Ben Siegel in his takeover of LA. It was a busy schedule, but he did find time to fall in love. He met LaVon Weaver, a tiny, doe-eyed former Hollywood dance instructor. They would eventually marry the night before Mickey signed up for selective services for World War II. Married men were exempt. The ceremony almost didn't take place. The minister didn't want to allow Tuffy, Mickey's dog, into the chapel. Mickey threatened to leave, so the pastor relented. While Mickey was living a newlywed life, events would happen that would force Mickey to go from muscle to management. It all started when Harry Big Greenie Greenberg, who was the trigger man for Louis Lepke, had gone on a lam to avoid deportation. That was all well and fine. But the problem was, Big Greenie started to threaten Lepke that he would go to Dewey if Lepke didn't keep sending him money. If you guys watched the Louis Lepke video, you remember that at this time, Lepke was in the midst of eliminating anyone who could help with Dewey. So when Big Greenie Greenberg showed up on the shores of LA, Ben was put in charge of dealing with him. But Benny let Bugsy mess this one up really good. Instead of being the administrator of the hit, he took part in the murder, along with Ali TikTok Tannenbaum and Frankie Carbo. When TikTok became a gymnast and flipped on his boss, he told the story of Big Greenie's murder and Ben's participation. This was bad for Ben. He was a boss who was facing a murder charge. While Benny was being watched closely by the law, he needed Mickey to step up. Mickey was still raw.
He says to me, "You're a gutty kid, but you need some polish or you're going to wind up being on the heavy the rest of your life. You got an ability that, if used in the proper way, would put you on a different scale."
Mickey learned bookmaking and the finer points of the gambling business. He set up a book at Santa Anita Racetrack outside of L.A. But after a few problems at the racetrack where Mickey had to get rough, it was shut down. Then he opened a card room at Santa Monica and Weston. The gang was sanctioned by an LAPD captain from Hollywood Vice. Everything was running smooth until LA Homicide raided the place. They had not coordinated with the Vice Squad, and Mickey again had to shut down. He next opened up a book at 758 South Rampart in the attic of a coffee shop. Along with his partner, Alan Smiley, a guy he met at Santa Anita, the two set out to become rich, but they were way out of their league. They didn't know how to write down a bet, and with gamblers coming into the place last-minute bets, they had to worry about being pass-posted. That's when a bet is placed after the race is over without the knowledge of the bookie. Since they were not on the wire, they had to worry about this. All right. It was also around this time that Mickey would have his first encounter with Jimmy Utley. He looked and dressed like a banker, but he worked for Jack Dragner. He was a pimp, a bookmaker, and a drug dealer. He ran illegal abortion clinics and legal bingo games. He also had a good relationship with the police, and Mickey didn't like that. One day, Mickey saw Utley talking to the cops right across the street from the Derby.
He was talking to the cop, and they were pointing right at me. Benny told me to hold my temper, but I had little impulse control and ended up giving him a beating right there on the crowded street.
Ben reprimanded Mickey, and he told Mickey that doing business with the cops was part of the job. But to Mickey, a rat was a rat. But Jack Dragner was pissed. He disliked Mickey, and he would hold on to this grudge. But that's for later. Mickey and his partner, Joe Seeker, started a small craps game at the Dinkara Stock Farm. It was a horse ranch and casino. The Dinkara became the place to be for Hollywood elite. On any given night, you could find politicians, police brass, Hollywood execs, and even extras still dressed in their costumes. It looked like a time machine malfunction. You had Egyptians standing next to cowboys, and toga-clad Romans shared laughs with Southern debutantes in their big dresses. Ben sent Mickey to organize the city's bookmakers under his Transamerica wire service. Because of that, Mickey was partners with over 500 bookies in LA. Mickey didn't discriminate. He dealt with people from all races. He had a partnership with Elihu Black Dot McGee, who controlled the Furious 40s, the Brown Broadway, the string of nightclubs and gambling spots on Central Avenue between 40th and 50th. Black Dot was LA's equivalent to Bumpy Johnson. Black Dot was friends with all the black entertainers and athletes, and him and Mickey shared the proceeds from South Central. And he also ran Mickey's Downbeat Club, a jazz club that featured the best jazz musicians in the world. Mickey also made the same arrangements with the bosses of Chinatown. Mickey had his finger in every pie in the city and in the suburbs. He opened another book, this time at 8109 Beverly Boulevard. It was in a concrete coater paint store, a store that sold asbestos-based paint. Now let that sink in. World War II was a blessing to the underworld, and like many other gangsters, Mickey made a lot of dough during his time. The government had put rations on a lot of everyday items, and Mickey had those items for sale. Mickey and his gang sold nylon stockings, silk, quality liquor, perfume, gas ration stamps, food ration stamps. He was even pushing spaghetti sauce. When the government said you couldn't have a steak, Mickey said, yes, you can, for the right price. By 1945, Ben Siegel was tired of LA. His high-profile gangster status made him a target for law enforcement. Benny had a dream of turning the deserts of Nevada into a gambler's paradise. He left for Vegas to pursue his dreams and left the keys of LA to Mickey. Mickey was now a more refined gangster, but sometimes it was hard to keep the California wildcat tame. So when Joe Shannon, the youngest of the Shannon brothers, local toughs from Boyle Heights who Mickey grew up with, came into Mickey's La Brea casino, he got into an argument and was severely beaten and left out on a stretcher courtesy of one of Mickey's men. On May 16th, 1945, a pissed off and armed Max Shannon, Joe's older brother, came into the paint shop looking for Mickey, and shots rang out. Mickey killed Max in his office. He claimed self-defense, and with no witnesses, he was able to beat the case with the help of some high-powered attorneys. Mickey controlled the Hollywood unions. Once Ronald Reagan was on the opposite side of Mickey in a labor dispute, who was newly elected as president of the Screen Actors Guild, felt his life was in danger, and he started packing a gun. By 1946, Mickey was the king of the Sunset Strip. But heavy is the head, and when you're at the top, you always got somebody gunning for you. One of the gangs that tried to knock Mickey off the hill was run by Benny the Meatball Gamson and George Lefferson, along with their partner, Paulie Gibson. After the trio tried to assassinate Mickey, and Gibbons even broke into Mickey's place and cut up all the suits with a straight razor. Oh, you're in trouble now, pal. Bad move. Gamson and Levison won a trip to the morgue with 45 caliber slugs from a Tommy gun, and Gibbons was shot dead as he entered his flat in Beverly Hills. 3 threats down, half of LA to go. Jimmy Utley was still around. He had become powerful in his own right. He had a string of abortion clinics, and he ran some illegal casinos and had some legal bingo parlors on Venice Beach. Mickey hated Utley, and he used his newfound political pull to have Utley's parlors closed down. Then Utley was arrested on gambling charges in his connection with an offshore gambling boat. Mickey was putting the hurting on Utley's pockets, and Utley struck back by putting the heat on all of Mickey's operations. Mickey wanted to kill him, but he was outvoted by a political roundtable. It was decided that Utley would be taught a lesson. When Mickey and his men strolled into Lucy's restaurant, owned by Utley, it was lunchtime. Lucy's was right across the street from the Paramount lot, and it was full of producers, directors, and executives. Even our friend Eddie Cantor was present that day. Dressed in a Hawaiian shirt, Mickey pistol whipped Utley while his boys held the crowd back at gunpoint. Then the men casually stepped over Utley's unconscious body and walked out. Utley spent 2 weeks in the hospital. When he got home, Mickey called him and demanded a large loan. Now, I gotta say, Mick, that's really gangster. Right? Mickey had LA under his thumb, and guys like Utley and Jack Dragner were getting pushed aside. On June 21st, 1947, Ben Siegel was reading the evening paper in the living room of his girlfriend Virginia Hill's Beverly Hill mansion when shots rang out. Benny was hit with several bullets from a carbine rifle in the neck and head. He was gone.
I took over for Benny right away, on instruction from the people back east.
Even though Mickey was the boss, he was still under the East Coast bosses. His Cleveland connections like Anthony Milano and Lou Rothkopf remained involved in his dealings, and he was Frank Costello's man on the West Coast. So that's where I gotta leave you guys off with this week. Stay tuned for part 3 of Mickey Cohen ASAP. All right, I'm gonna be knocking these videos out, and I'm gonna upload them soon as possible. I'm not gonna wait for Saturdays, so they'll just be dropping until I can get back on a regular schedule, and then we'll be rolling again. All right, so make sure you guys check out the merch store, all the new shirts. Thank you to the who ordered the new cups, the shots rang out cups. I really appreciate that. I guess that's it. If you want to slide a little envelope upstairs to the boss, help the channel out, the link is down below. And I guess that's it. So we're back on the streets. It's back to business. This has been A Few Bad Men. Keep your nose clean and don't take any wooden nickels. I see yous in the funnies.